back to the new album review. Today's review is on Power Metal from Pantera. It's the fourth studio album from Pantera, and their first album to not have Terry Glaze as their lead singer. The rest of the band felt that Terry's glam style wasn't fitting with the rest of the band's developing style, and decided to part ways with him and search for a new lead singer. They initially auditioned Matt Lamauer. He was with the band during some live shows in winter of '86. However, he couldn't hit the high notes that Terry was able to hit. And Terry then auditioned Rick Mathiasen, but he wasn't with the band for long due to cultural differences. They later tried David Peacock, who was actually a schoolmate of the Abbott brothers. Where this didn't work out because the rest of the band didn't think he suited the band's musical direction that they wanted. And Terry revisited their original lead singer, Donnie Hart, but even he didn't think he was the right guy. It was sometime in '86 when Phil Anselmo learned that Pantera were searching for a new lead singer, and they invited him to audition by the end of the year. Phil was only 18 at the time. He had previously been the lead singer for two other bands, Razor White and Sam Hain. No, not Glenn Danzig's band, the same name. Anyways, by the time Phil played with the rest of Pantera, they hired him as their new lead singer, and he stayed with the band until they disbanded in 2003. But we'll get back to that eventually. Anyways, Pantera released their fourth album, Power Metal, in May of '88. They released it under Metal Magic Records, though I don't know the exact date of when the album was released, nor do I know when or where it was recorded. If anyone knows, be sure to let me know in the comments. This would be the last album released under Metal Magic Records. The album is self-produced with the help of Mark Ferrari and Jerry Abbott, where this would be the last Pantera album that Jerry would produce. And he actually played the keyboard on this album in addition to being responsible for the remixing and the engineering. Tony Coyne did the mastering. The album is mainly centered around heavy metal and speed metal with some elements of thrash metal. There are a few traces of glam metal, and this would officially be the last time which Pantera would touch upon the glam metal genre. The album was only released on vinyl, CD, and cassette, but not digital or streaming as far as I know. I don't know exactly how many copies were produced, but I do know that bootlegs do exist. The album is up on YouTube in its entirety, and I'll leave a link to it in the description if you want to check it out for yourself. Anyways, let's talk about the songs. This album starts with Rock the World. Just listening to this song shows that Pantera evolved to having a much heavier sound this time around. I personally think Phil Anselmo fits perfectly with this particular sound, and he's able to hit the high notes quite well. Hell, it does even better than Terry Glaze, in my opinion. If you don't believe me, then listen to this album for yourself. I personally think this is the perfect song to start the album with. We're only getting started. Up next is Power Metal. Obviously, this song shares the same name as the album. It's also more in the realms of both speed metal and thrash metal. You can tell by how fast the band is playing throughout. Followed up with We'll Meet Again. There are a few traces of glam metal within this song, but it's mostly in the category of heavy metal. You just have to listen closely. It is unusual hearing Phil Anselmo sing glam metal, since I'm normally accustomed to hearing him sing groove metal, thrash metal, and speed metal. The song still turned out good, though. It's followed up by Over and Out. It's actually the longest song in the album at 5 minutes and 6 seconds long. I personally feel that it fits within the album's overall tone. The next song is Proud to Be Loud. The song stands out as being the only song on this album that Mark Ferrari produced, because it was originally intended to be on the self-titled debut album of his band called Keel. After all, Mark is the guitarist for Keel, and he actually played guitar on this particular song in addition to writing the lyrics. I read that Keel wouldn't record their version until their sixth album, titled Keel 6, Back in Action in '98. Granted, I've never actually heard anything by Keel, but I might check them out someday. I have noticed that there are some traces of glam metal within this particular song. I also think this is the best song on the album. I mentioned that this is the only song on the album that Mark Ferrari produced, while the rest of the songs are produced by Jerry Abbott. Up next is Down Below. All four members of Pantera wrote the lyrics to this song. It's also the shortest song on the album at 2 minutes and 49 seconds in length. Terry Glaze actually helped to write the lyrics of the song, and an earlier version exists on Pantera's previous album, I Am the Night, which I talked about last week. Personally, I think the version on Power Metal is even better, but that's just my opinion. After that is Death Trap. Now, this is one of the heavier songs on the album thanks to Daryl's guitar riffs. I think this is the second best song on this album. Now, it's followed up with Hard Ride. It's another song with some elements of glam metal, and you'll notice this if you actually listen to it. I don't think it's as good as the previous songs, but it still turned out alright. It's also the second longest song at 4 minutes and 16 seconds long. After that is Burn. It's another song that falls into the categories of both thrash metal and speed metal. However, there are also some traces of glam metal within it. This album ends with PST 88. Second shortest song on the album at 2 minutes and 51 seconds long. What's interesting is that Daryl performed lead vocals on the song while Phil took a back seat and did backing vocals. I couldn't find any info on how this album did commercially, however. If anyone knows, be sure to let me know in the comments. I mentioned earlier that the only way I was able to experience this album was through YouTube. I'll leave a link in the description if you want to check it out for yourself. I read that this album was met with mostly mixed reviews. As for my opinion on it, I think this is a major improvement over Pantera's first 3 albums. And I think Phil Anselmo was the perfect fit for the band. And I definitely recommend checking this album out. Now's the part where I question you. Have you listened to the album Power Metal? So, what are your thoughts on it? And what's your favorite song from it? Do you think this is an improvement over Pantera's previous work? Do you think Phil Anselmo was the perfect choice for the band's lead singer? Now let me know in the comments. If you like the video, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Be sure to hit the notification bell to be notified of future uploads. Thanks for watching, I'll be back soon with another review.